Let's date forever. Here's your weekly dose of relationship fuel with Sammi and Nathan Jaeger. Hello and welcome to Date Forever. In this week's episode, we're giving you an opportunity to get to know us and our relationship a little bit more, and we're going to do a few little rapid-fire questions, which Sammi and I are going to ask each other for you to get to know our relationship a bit more.
Yeah, we realised that we've been dating forever, formally, as the Date Forever podcast for 3 years. And there's some things that we probably haven't shared because we've never asked each other directly. So we're going to do that today. But what fueled me up this week? We celebrated Mother's Day and we've got your parents staying with us at the moment, Nath.
Yeah, so it was a really nice opportunity to be able to spend Mother's Day with my mother because we probably haven't done it for who knows how long. Probably the last 7 or 8 years since I've been living in Sydney.
Yeah, but I mean, she created my most favourite person in the world, and I did tell her that on Sunday.
Yeah.
But we spent the day together, the four of us as a family, out on Sydney Harbour. So that's what fueled me up.
Yeah, me too. It was really nice to spend the day treating my mum because she is a really special person and, like you said, did make me the person that I am today. So, yeah, very, very thankful for my mum.
So, Nath, our little love story.
Yeah.
Way back at the beginning. How did we meet?
So we met way back in high school. So I think I was in year 8. So I was in high school and I think you were doing orientation and you were with one of your friends who was also one of my friends.
That is actually crazy because we sometimes get accused of being high school sweethearts.
Yeah, we do.
But I'm literally only just in this moment realising that we met when I was in primary school.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Whoa. Yeah. So I was in my final year of primary school, transitioning to high school.
Yep.
And a couple of my friends from primary school who were a year above me had already made the transition to high school. And yeah, one of my friends was Nate's friend.
Yep.
I don't really, honestly, I don't remember meeting you, hey.
Oh, yeah? Yeah.
I remember the story.
Yeah.
But I actually don't remember meeting you for the first time.
Yeah, I kind of remember that orientation day. Like, I don't necessarily remember the, interaction with you, but yeah.
So we would have been, 12 and 13, and then we started dating.
No, 11 and 12, I think.
Oh, my gosh.
Earlier.
And then we started dating at 18, 19?
Yeah. Yeah, I was 19, you were 18. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, wow. So we were friends for a while first.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So there's the kind of curveballs, the next question of what was your first impression of each other? I haven't remember having an impression of you.
No, I don't remember having an impression either.
Definitely not a first one.
No.
But we were friends at high school and we've got some cute pictures of us at each other's birthday parties and stuff.
Yeah, very early on in high school.
So that's a bit of an anticlimactic question, isn't it? I think my impression of you at high school, and we never dated or anything like that at high school. There was no high school romance. Was that you were very, very shy and very, very awkward and very, very nerdy.
Yeah, and I think mine was probably the opposite to you. You were very forthcoming and outgoing and weren't shy to say what you meant and do things as well.
All right. So, Nath, when did you realise that you had feelings for me?
Oh, I don't know. This was a bit of a strange one. I think there was patches during high school that I liked you.
Had a little crush?
Yeah, I had a little crush then. So I don't really remember when I first had feelings for you, but I do remember that I definitely had a bit of a crush on you during one of our high school musical productions. We were both on the tech crew together, and I remember spending lots of time with you and, yeah, getting a few feelings then.
But then what about as an adult?
It would probably be when we were living together.
So for context, we were living together as housemates.
Yeah,
and
we
I
were.
had never had crush kind of feelings towards you. I'm sorry, babe.
It's all good. We got there. No, so I think the first time was maybe when I was helping you out with some of your studies. I think you were becoming a personal trainer.
Yes, I did.
And I remember helping you try and learn the different muscles or bones or something like that. And I think that was when I first kind of felt some feelings for you. What about you?
I don't really know. Hey.
It was obviously sometime during that year.
Yeah, so we lived together as housemates for a year in a share house. But I don't really remember a distinct moment or anything like that, or something that you did or said, or a way that I all of a sudden started looking at you in a different way. But I definitely think we developed a totally different level of friendship while living together as housemates. I think we worked together incredibly well as a team in like, we were both navigating living out of home
for the first time. Yeah, definitely.
Like,
yeah.
How do we do laundry and food shop and clean and pay bills on our minuscule full-time study?
Lack of work.
Yeah, casual work
routines.
lifestyle.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, sometime in that year, obviously, I did really develop feelings for you that were, I guess, romantic and had shifted from friendship to romantic. But I think, like, the beginning of our like relationship, maybe the first time that I was like, oh, I actually really like this boy, was when we kissed. Maybe it was then.
Yeah, maybe. It wasn't when we were up late watching, was it Noodles Up Late game show or something, or Scrubs was the other one?
We did used to watch a lot of up late TV.
Yeah.
But no, I think that it was only after we kissed, I should say after I kissed you, that I maybe only then realised consciously that I liked you or had those kind of feelings for you.
Yeah.
And I think it was so messy because we were living in a share house. I was going through a breakup. I was preparing to go overseas. I had a job lined up. And I just should not have been kissing or falling in love with my housemate. It would have been like, don't screw the crew, would have been the safe way to play.
Yeah.
And I was not doing that.
So then how did we make our relationship official?
Well, I think that, step one, I realised I liked you when we kissed.
Yeah.
But then I realised I really liked you when you kissed somebody else.
Yeah, that happened.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't like that he did that.
Yeah.
I have no right to claim that he shouldn't be doing that. But
because we weren't official at that time.
No. So sometime after that, I guess I started to think about not going overseas and what might happen if I was to hang around and actually choose for Nathan to be my boyfriend and not just my housemate that I kissed. Yeah, but how did we make our relationship official? I don't remember ever having a like, will you be my boyfriend? Will I be your girlfriend kind of chat?
No, I don't really either.
But there must have been a decision that I must have consciously at some point decided, okay, no, I'm not going to pursue this job. There must have been a conscious decision somewhere in there.
But I do remember it was probably 4 months, I think, into our relationship when you first said, I love you to me. And I also said it back exactly the same time because I felt that earlier in that same day and then I wanted to tell you. So I don't know, maybe that was a turning point.
So you think the official was I love you? No, surely we were like exclusive or in a relationship of some sort before that.
Then,
maybe it was it's very hard to remember, isn't it? Because all of this is like 2007. Wow.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like the origin of our love story, isn't it? All the way from my primary school. I often think about how lucky we are to have, be in our early 30s and to have already spent over a decade together.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, isn't it?
Whereas there's other people who have not met their person in their mid-30s and are actively looking for someone to spend a lot of their life with. So I feel incredibly grateful that we've had that opportunity. Yeah. And I think in a lot of ways because we met so young, we connected so young, we fell in love so young, we really did like build our lives together as opposed to each of us having very well-defined ideas or ways of being or living that we then had to try and like merge together.
Yeah.
So that's definitely something that I struggle to relate with other relationships where they're trying to do that later in life and merging very
structured lives together. Yeah.
So this is an unprepared question. When did you realize that you wanted to ask me to marry you?
That's a good question, actually. I think I knew relatively early on in our relationship, like within the first couple of years, I think, that I did want to marry you. But I think it was about timing. I think that I didn't quite feel ready at that point. So for context, I did propose about 5 years into our relationship. I think it was probably like 2 or 3 years in that I knew that I was going to marry this person. But we were still like really young at that point. We were 22, 23.
Which sounds crazy now that you say that, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
It didn't feel crazy.
No, especially when we've been together for, 3, 4 or 5 years by the time I did propose.
But so you don't remember being like, okay, I'm going to marry this girl. Because I know this now, but you bought the ring a long time before you proposed.
Yeah, I did. I found the ring before I knew that I wanted to marry you. I think it was just about timing or...
readiness.
Yeah, readiness to get married.
And then we got married like 6 months after you asked.
Yeah, we did. Yep. We didn't muck around once I'd popped the question.
Yeah, well, I think we'd talked about it so many times. Not just the idea of getting married and the marriage, but we had actually talked a bit about like what kind of wedding we might like to have and the actual party side of or the event side of getting married.
And I think the thing is that I knew that I was ready by the time that I did propose. It's not as if I proposed early and then
wanted a long
runway. Yeah, I think by the time I did propose, I knew it was on.
I know we found out afterwards that friends were like wondering whether or not I was pregnant.
Oh,
and if it was like shotgun wedding because of how quickly, But no, not pregnant. Definitely not pregnant. Yeah, and then we got married in December of 2012.
Yeah, we did. So the next question is, what is something that you admire about me?
So this is something that probably I equally admire and find really infuriating. I don't know if that's the intention of the question. But you, and I know that you've had this character trait described about you quite a few times, but you are a duck on water. It does not matter what is going on under the surface. You look the same all the time.
Yeah.
No high highs, no low lows. You are calm, consistent, zen, motherfucker all the time. And I really, really admire that about you because you are a sense of calm and ease and flow in my life. But God, it's annoying. Yeah. But it's something that I don't, it's not a strong skill set of mine. It's not a strength of mine. I can definitely turn that on. And I've had a lot of practice at turning that on, particularly professionally.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's something that I really, really admire in you, that you are so steady, so calm, so strong-footed. You are chill all the time.
And I think what I really admire about you is almost the opposite of that, which is that drive and that push for things to be better and for that sense of adventure as well. I know that was definitely something that early on in our relationship that I did really love, was that you would push me out of that comfort zone and out of that steady state and get me to do things that I wouldn't ordinarily do, and did get me to some of those high highs in doing those activities. So, yeah.
Like roller coasters and sushi that you've never eaten before.
That's it.
So that kind of leads to the next question of how have you grown as an individual, you, Nathan, since we've been together?
So I think this is a bit of an interesting question because I guess before we got together, I hadn't been in a relationship or like hadn't even really had a girlfriend, like a long-term girlfriend kind of forever. A couple of girlfriends during high school, but that was about it. And so I was very much kind of an individual and kind of running my own race. So the first growing that I had to do really was learning how to be in a relationship and considering someone else in my decision making and things like that. And I know that was a bit of a challenging time for us as well.
Oh my gosh, story time. So I remember this, of like it must have been like within our first year, maybe first 2 of dating. And I had very intentionally asked you about what you wanted to do for your birthday, and you were spending the day in the Barossa Valley with your family, and I had gone so far elaborate to make this huge dinner. I love cooking, so I'd cooked, I don't even know how many courses, but I'd intentionally asked you, like, do you have plans? Is it okay for me to make us plans? And then the day of, or like not even the day of, that afternoon, you cancelled on me.
Yeah, I was
Because
like, I think I might change plans, or like, yeah.
you just changed your mind about what you wanted to do.
Yeah, I wasn't considering anyone else in my decision making and things like that. So.
And I think you were also just so caught off guard that I had made plans for you and for us.
Yeah, I think I was. It was definitely one of the first major growing patches that I needed to do. And then I think we almost went full circle and became a little bit codependent on each other. And so then later in our relationship, the growing that I had to do was really about trying to find my own feet again and my own sense of self, and reigniting some of that passion for my own hobbies and reigniting some of my own friendships and things like that. So, there's definitely been a few different growing phases through our relationship. So what about you? How have you grown as an individual?
In so many ways. And I think some of that is like, of course, you're meant to change and evolve and grow over what we've been together 15 years or more.
Yeah.
Of course, like even just as a human being, not in a relationship, you're meant to change and evolve in that sort of span of time. Yeah, I think one of the biggest things or one of the biggest areas of growth for me has probably been that thing that I admire you for, about being calm and steady state. I think one of the things that I've learned from you is slowing down and not doing absolutely everything all at once at maximum speed.
Yeah, I know it's definitely been something you've been kind of working on, and just putting some white space into your calendar as well.
Yeah, I still struggle with that. But yeah, I think that's definitely like something that I get to observe in you a lot, and definitely something that it's still probably not my innate way of being. It's definitely something that I have to work out, but it's one of the things, that has definitely helped me to grow as an individual. So how do you think we've grown as a couple? It's so hard to overstate how much growth we've done, because the Sammi and Nath that were little itty-bitty teenage babies having their first kiss after closing time in a pub, to now having just celebrated 10 years of marriage and, over 15 years together. We've lived together for over 17 years now. The list of ways that we've grown as a couple is so big and so long. But I think one of the things that you touched on before was like going through an individualism stage, a codependent kind of stage, a fiercely independent stage when we lived apart for 6 months or so.
And then finding that balance of that great interdependent relationship.
Yeah, and like how to collaborate. We don't ever really play things out for one person to win and the other person to lose. Like we really do create win-win when we are entering those collaborations to try and arrive at an outcome that we're both happy with. And not just happy with, but my outcome is better than what I initially wanted, and your outcome is better than what you initially wanted, because we've been able to co-create something together. Whereas I think early days it was like, well, one person got what they wanted and the other person just didn't.
Yeah.
I think another really big way that we've grown as a couple is a more seamless yin and yang between who's playing lead on different areas of our life. Like for a really long time, I was the creator of memories, experiences, events within our relationship, but within our friendship circle, within our family. And I definitely think that we've grown to have a more reciprocal inhale and exhale balance.
Yeah, get to be the creator and the participant.
So I think the other thing that we have grown a lot in is our readiness, and I don't even know if this is a word, but like comfortability with conflict.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And that's something that I marvel at regularly. Is like, oh, wow, we never would have been able to navigate this without it being a shit show. And now there's some things that just don't even trip us up. It's like we have a quick conversation and we move on.
Oh, absolutely.
I think our readiness to raise issues and, like you said, ask for what you want is way greater than it ever was in the early days.
Yeah, for sure. So, Sammi, then what is something that you're looking forward to doing together in the future?
Going back overseas.
Yeah, definitely. That was mine as well. So going overseas, but not just necessary for a holiday as well, but also spending some extended time overseas, whether that's living somewhere for 3 or 4 months or maybe even a longer duration. Travel and experiencing new cultures and things like that has been such a game changer for us in our relationship that the excitement and the passion's definitely still there to get back overseas.
All right, Nathan, if there's one big piece of advice or a lesson or a share or something that you want to share with couples who are just starting out, what would it be?
I think one of the key ones is what you just touched on, Sammi, in that learning to fight fair or learning to do conflict well and repair well after conflict. I know that early on in our relationship, even in the honeymoon phase, was when we had so many of those difficult conversations and we were trying to merge a couple of lives together and we were figuring a lot of things out. And I'm sure that could have been much, much smoother and much simpler and much more enjoyable if we had a few more skills in our tool belt to be able to do conflict much nicer and to repair a lot better after that.
Yeah, I think I agree. One of the best things anybody can do, not just in a relationship, but like in life, ability to give constructive feedback and a willingness to receive it and be coachable in that, and to not receive feedback and then automatically fall into a shame spiral of being a bad person or not being lovable or not being worthy, but to truly understand that you are worthy, you are loved, you are appreciated, and that's the reason that the person is even raising the concern or the issue or the opportunity with you, because they love you and because they want to create an incredible relationship. Nothing changes if nothing changes. Go about building the toolbox that you need to have uncomfortable conversations with each other, because conflict is inevitable, and if you can deal with it well, and bounce back quickly, your whole relationship will draw dividends on that skill set for forever.
So then, Sammi, what are some of our shared goals for the future?
We have so many.
Yeah, we do.
There's lots of fun things like going to Tomorrowland and going to see the Taj and hike the Inca Trail, Machu Picchu. Lots of those kind of incredible goals.
Yeah, lots of travel and experience kind of goals.
Yeah. But we have other goals too around like financial freedom, having a lifestyle that is location agnostic. So to not have to be in any particular place at a particular time. We have goals around things that we want to contribute to this world as well.
We have goals around our work-life balance as well, like how many hours do we want to work and for how much of the year.
Yeah, so there's lots and lots of things, and I think there's other goals like the podcast, like Date Forever. We really started this show to create better relationships so that we can have a better world, and it would just blow me away if this podcast got to a place where it hit like 1 million downloads. Not because of the 1 million number, but because I think, wow, the ripple effect of that would be enormous.
Absolutely.
And that really excites me. Yeah, because if couples go on to have a conversation that they maybe otherwise wouldn't have had, and it strengthens their relationship and they're able to go from strength to strength, that just is what this is all about.
So I hope this conversation's given you a little bit of a peek behind the curtains to our relationship and to the beginnings of our relationship as well. And maybe there's things that you're going through in some early stages of your relationship too that you can relate to. So know that you're not alone.
Or you've been together forever and have a date and maybe do the big, what's our love story? What are our big moments?
Yeah.
Could do a
little reflection.
Yeah, walk down memory lane, because it is really nice to reflect on where you've been and where you're going.
So to say thank you for listening today, we've provided a month's worth of support to a family in Cambodia to help them stay together. So this project is managed by This Life Cambodia and has been made possible via our partnership with Buy One, Give One. So thank you so much for listening. Thanks heaps for joining us. If you love what we're doing here and want more, subscribe to the Date Forever podcast to make sure you never miss an ep. Come and hang out with us and other awesome couples who are fueling up their relationships in the Thriving Couples Collective Facebook group, or check us out at fuelcollective.com.au. Until next time, keep on dating, because better relationships equal a better world.